Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Gabbin About. My guest today is a multi-talented performer, educator, fitness guru, and an uber nerd.
Yes.
Her name is Laura Frye, and Laura is here. Thank you for being here on Gabbin About.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. I am already living my nerd dream that we are going to be talking about what we are going to talk about today. I'm sure, like we kind of mentioned in previous talks, it'll probably go off the rails a million times, but
We welcome that. It's okay.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready.
Today on Gabbin About, we are going to be gabbing about The Lost World Jurassic Park. Or so I thought. Because, I'm 30 minutes removed from watching this movie. You saw it like 2 days ago.
Yes.
And
I've had time to simmer with it.
After seeing this movie, I had so many thoughts, and I figured it just might make more sense to just talk about this movie instead of, maybe we'll come back to The Lost World. I think time would be better spent talking about the newest Jurassic World Dominion movie. So initial thoughts, what did you think?
So my first initial thoughts, I love this. I love the franchise, and always say I will continue to follow that franchise off a cliff. I love it. I love it. I love it.
This movie fell off a cliff today.
So I thought, you know what? It was fun. That was the first word that kind of came to my mind when people were asking me, because they knew how excited I was to see the movie. And I said, it was so fun. And I kind of said it in that way, which made me 2 days later be like, that wasn't very convincing. It was fun. It was very fun.
It was fun, ellipses, ...
Yeah, I was like, it was fun? Question mark. Now that I've had a couple of days, I have some issues, and we'll talk about it more. I think what I am a sucker for in this franchise is obviously the dinosaurs. I will say that I loved that there were so many, and that we met new ones, we saw, old ones. I love that. I think that's what that was one of the things on the many notes I had for Jurassic World. And so I think I love that about it. It's following Top Gun, which already is kind of the movie of the summer. So that's sad for it. Mm-hmm. It did not. And so it met certain things that I was hoping for, and it fell very short of other things.
Okay.
So what were your just, you walked right out of the theater, you had just seen it, it just washed over you. What was the first thing you thought?
The first thing I thought it was mostly terrible. It was mostly throughout the movie. It wasn't necessarily like the immediate reaction after. I was mostly bored. Like, there's so much expository scenes, and they are setting up so many new characters, and I'm just like, we're in the home stretch here. What are we doing with this right now? I think it might be the worst of the Jurassic Worlds. Maybe not worse than Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would say if I were ranking the World trilogy, it would be Jurassic World, this one, and then Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah.
Although it's funny because I feel like Fallen Kingdom, now obviously when you think about the concept that the director wanted for that, he wanted it to feel more like a horror film. Like, sure. there were elements of that, and the cinematography felt that way, the lighting, the mood. I will say maybe we don't give enough credit to Fallen Kingdom in that it did exactly what the director was hoping his concept would look like and do and be.
Yeah.
So it won out a little bit on Fallen Kingdom. Did have a very clear, this is the story we're trying to tell, and this is and we did it. Spoilers, obviously. This is a spoiler.
Yes,
spoiler zone, right? Where there's no way we can talk about it at this point without.
Although to be fair, it's just like, I wonder how annoyed anybody is going to be about the plot of bugs and human cloning being spoiled for them in this movie. Like, why is the main threat locusts?
I know.
Like, I thought this was a movie about dinosaurs. Like, we could start here with the plot.
Yes. So mosquitoes have always been the thing. That is what that franchise is its origin story is
yeah.
a mosquito in amber that had bitten the dinosaur. The locust, that was odd to me. One, I thought, this is an odd storyline for Laura Dern, too, because she was like a paleobotanist.
Right.
And, which I was like, okay, she's
it's
working
all
with
it's all the same.
crops.
It's all the same. They're all the paleontologists all know about all the facets of paleontology. Doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be dinosaurs. It could be plants. Could be bugs.
Listen,
Sure.
This is literally going to be one of those podcasts that my friends who are not as nerdy as me listen to and go, Laura, it was a movie about dinosaurs living in today's world. Why are you getting so detailed about these little plot points? I mean, we had the whole... so at the beginning, obviously, we get a little bit of taste of the world dealing with dinosaurs. You got the...
Probably my least favorite, like, movie trope is, like, let's start the movie with, like, news footage.
News footage.
Not even news
boat.
footage. It was the internet news site. What is it? Now something. Their logo's I'll put it up on the screen. Everyone will know what it is. But there was more dino footage in like the viral marketing on that website that you mentioned. You know,
the one I was upset. And now I see why I love that website so much, because it was like that's what I wanted the film to be. And I had, yesterday I hadn't done this before seeing the film. I watched the prologue that was at the beginning. I guess people saw it during Fast and Furious. When I watched it, and then it jumps forward to present day, and they're at the drive-in, which to me was very Twister-like. I was like, yeah, this is more of what I wanted to see, or the battle at Big Rock. I wanted to see those stories come to life. Like, how are people existing with these things that we all as kids kind of wished were still existing? How cool it would be.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the story I want to tell. But man, it immediately, within 20 minutes, we were already off to Italy. Okay, so just so we don't like jump around too much, we're there in the woods with Claire and Maisie and Owen, and then there was really, and you just saw it now. Like I said, I'm 2 days removed from it, so it's more fresh in your mind. Did you feel like the blue and what they're calling beta, that happened so fast without any kind, like all of a sudden here's the bad guys, we are introduced to them so quickly, there is no build up whatsoever, no relationship, or...
You see them once, you see the hunters once when Owen's out being, Mr. Manly Man herding those the Packies.
Oh my gosh, it was like that Yellowstone.
Opening sequence is Claire still doing her dinosaur like preservation thing, and they're saving like a baby triceratops.
I know.
Breaking into an illegal facility. I'm just like, what movie is this?
I know.
This is gonna be a common theme. It just seems like they didn't take anything that they set up and use it to their advantage at all. They're just kind of still doing the same thing from the last movie.
Yep.
And
then those two poor actors that were such a big part of Fallen Kingdom. It was like, you're going to be in the beginning and then bye. Yeah. You're not going on this adventure with us to go.
No, Laura, we have to set up 4 new characters and bring back 3 more. They brought back what's his name? He was one of the trainers in the first Jurassic World.
Oh my god.
Yes! They just pulled everyone out of the woodworks.
We will get to this one character that I thought... I was like, is she like the sidekick to the big bad?
Oh, no. The black market deals for dinosaurs.
I was like, she is going to be... she's probably going to have an epic death scene. And no.
Nope. She's introduced in that scene and pretty much... And that's it, is... immediately taken care of at the end of that scene,
and not even in a way that is going out with a bang. I was like, she got arrested.
Yeah, that's it.
That was it.
It's like the movie's supposed to be about the dinosaurs, and we'd hardly get any of that. And then there's this very simple but convoluted plot that just has way too much going on. It makes the movie way too long.
And I was getting upset, and I think this is why I'm traditional and that I like the old ones. And I will even put Jurassic Park 3.
I put it above this movie.
Exactly. Like I'm loving the original trilogy here. Because I don't like how, in this one especially, they started making the dinosaurs a bit too human in a way. Blue is like literally having like almost a conversation with you, like,
I know,
you better go get my child. Like it was like, and I was like, this is getting a little too like Alan on the Alan.
No, okay, so sorry, because of course we immediately just completely veered off. Like, so basic plot here: Biosyn, which is now the new
engine, yeah,
creating all of the genetic advances. Who's also taking care of the dinosaurs that were released and are developing these giant bugs, these locusts that I guess went awry. Like the BD Wong is back, still causing chaos. So they're creating these bugs that are apparently like going to create like a famine because they're eating all of the crops. Except
for the crops sold by Biosyn seed. Very Monsanto here. Like I'm like, this is very on the nose.
So there's that, and then there's Biosyn is still behind all of this. So they also want Blue, or the baby, I should say. Mm-hmm. They also want Maisie, because they're both the key to something. They don't really do anything with this amazing genetic information other than just end kill the bugs.
The plague of locusts. Yeah, exactly.
That was the main function, instead of something, I don't know, like curing diseases or...
I know, and I kind of cracked up a little bit because I thought, we get to meet her mother, or we meet via...
Spoiler! Who's Maisie's mother?
But I thought to myself, this woman, they were like, we need Maisie because we need to study her.
Yeah.
Which I'm always like, study, just like observe her in the wild, or you want to take her blood. Like, it's just always funny when they use that term in movies like this.
It's true. There's a very big like margin of like,
right.
what
like,
that
what
could
do you
mean.
It is, like, people study primates. Are you like, I don't understand how this is going to work. But then I thought, well, I can't believe this like taught her mother in finding these findings. She didn't write down anywhere.
Nope.
This new gene sequencing that she had created.
Yeah, right. No. Even if it wasn't for the purpose of cloning, it's just like
she didn't have blood samples. Nope. She didn't have
It was all destroyed back in the 90s, I guess.
At the original park.
That's the other thing. That's another thing that's really bugging me about. And it only happened in Dominion and Fallen Kingdom. They bring back these characters that are supposedly part of the old park.
Park.
I don't remember seeing, what was his name? George Cromwell. John.
Oh yeah.
Is it John? George? Fuck. Basically, whatever. Hammond's silent partner that we've never seen before.
We never saw him. In fact, I don't think we ever... Did they talk about him?
James Cromwell. There it was. Sorry.
James Cromwell. Yes, Babe. Yeah, that character. So I do find it funny that in all of those, they'll either show the old stuff, the vintage stuff, or what they consider like the original park stuff.
Yeah.
In this one, it was obviously the can.
It was oh my god, yes, that's one of two prop cameos that made it into this movie. That was one, which was funny. What was the other? The other one was it was in at the dig site, Alan Grant. The Velociraptor.
The Velociraptor whistle
vocal
thing.
Yeah, like the vocal chamber or whatever it is. I thought that was neat.
That saved them, basically, in the end of that movie.
Tickled by
Absolutely. I like to geek out over throwbacks. When they do fan service, I do geek out. Like the Dilophosaurus having its heyday. As a fan, I do love those little fan service moments. However, as someone who overthinks things in movies they love, I thought, wait, Dodson go back to the original park, find Nedry's body, and then by the skeletons of Nedry's body, find this under the mud that had created... It was like one of those things where I'm like, how'd they get it? How'd they find it?
Laura, don't worry about that because now we have to worry. Now we're onto the scene where there's underground dino fights instead of like dog fighting. They have dino fighting.
Okay, yes, let's talk about this scene where they're cooking. We got some cooked dinosaurs.
Yeah, some cooked dinosaurs.
It was very Star Wars Marketplace. It was very it had that like it felt like in the
Phantom Menace.
Yes, I was gonna say where you had the poor creatures in the cages. They had the dino fighting, which was that like then they had the two large Carnotaur, and then I guess a Baryonyx was in there. So I only know
way
these.
More of these.
Listen, it's because I watched Camp Cretaceous. Okay, I learned a lot. I've studied in detail dinosaurs things to Jurassic Park, but only the Jurassic Park dinosaurs. Don't ask me to name any other dinosaur outside the franchise.
Okay, fair enough.
Only the ones they've introduced.
I'm sure you will impress us all with the amount of names that you can just
see
roll.
What I can roll off.
Yeah, I don't. So what else? Because that's pretty much it, right? That's the main plot.
That was it. Yes, yeah, and there's a section of the movie that I thought, man, had they had made the whole movie like this, it would have been pretty amazing, which is from the time the flying predators, pterodactyls, whatever they were, start to attack the plane until the time they get actually to the facility. That little section in between there where you saw people having to survive in the wild with these creatures, nice. I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool. I mean, that whole scene where that one dinosaur that's like kind of like bird, or it's like between a sloth and a bird, I thought this moment right here is the scariest moment in the...
So that's Claire hiding from the giant ostrich dinosaur.
I know.
Was the most tense this movie ever got.
Yeah. The thing I loved about the original 3 is that there were all those moments of feeling like you are in... It's kind of like when you get in the ocean and you're like, I'm no longer top dog. It's people surviving outside of their comfort. That's what I loved about those scenes where they were outside of the safety of that that compound. You know, it was weird too because I love the original 3 characters so much. However, I was thinking to myself, sometimes when you are, especially as actors, as we know, like when you are so far removed from something original that you have played before, it's if years have passed, if you're older now, if all of that, and then now you got to come back and play this original character that you played in your late 20s or whatever. It's hard to remember exactly how to be that person again. But I thought Laura Dern did a great job at finding that in the beginning, but then it kind of went off the rails. Sam Neill for sure, because he was just always kind of this more stoic kind of guy.
Grumpy kind of.
I was like, oh man, I love Jeff Goldblum so much. But he's missing a little bit of what made Malcolm so... charming, and he's now kind of who Jeff Goldblum is in life.
Yes,
if that makes sense, like who he is on that Disney Plus show, Life According to Jeff Goldblum. And I was like, oh, he's kind of forgotten how to play Malcolm. It's maybe been too long, and so we're not getting the same. The chemistry between the 3 was like a little off in my opinion.
I did love seeing them together again. You know, Grant, Ellie, and Malcolm all together again, and. They played off each other well. The dynamic that they had was still strong. You know, Malcolm still kind of not hitting on Ellie, but
but there was
But Grant feeling left out and feeling just like, oh, again, he's swooping in again. Them turning the power back on. That was an obvious throwback to the first Jurassic Park when. You know, Ellie had to go find Samuel L. Jackson.
I did love that scene in what was like the treehouse thing. I do always find it funny in that because I'll be sitting as an audience member watching those scenes and I'm like, you are not moving fast enough. Like the minute you hear it, like thunder, you have exactly like T-minus 5 minutes tops Just go. Just get up the you know, those
Nope.
things always crack me up, and they're still down there, and I'm like, oh
The
my
ladder's right there.
God. There! It's right there! Oh my God.
You don't
And then,
go back.
Now, of course, because we're nerding out on details that most people would be like, can you just enjoy the movie? It's a movie about dinosaurs, you all. Like, dinosaurs are not real anymore. They do not walk among us. But here was my problem going into the movie. First of all, in the things that happened in Fallen Kingdom, do you remember when Maisie, at the end of that movie, she releases the dinosaurs, right? There weren't very many dinosaurs. So they release them into the redwoods of California, basically, which is, I'm assuming, maybe where the Lockwood estate was. So then they, start reproducing, like, rabbits?
Immediately.
Like, immediately. They basically people the earth with their babies all over the place. How were they jumping continents to, like, I'm real confused. Like, these are the details I need. These are the plot holes that I need. I need these plot holes fixed or explained to me. And
Wait,
I know
but Laura, Owen is herding a bunch of pachyosaurs in this scene. Don't worry about it.
This is what I'm saying. I'm like, wait a second. How did they multiply?
Wait, they kidnapped Maisie. Stop asking. Don't ask these questions. You'll never get answers.
Then I'm like, okay, so were they trying to get all of the dinosaurs in the United, or in the whole world, back to this little island in Italy that they were going to then? And
it's all very
like,
vague.
It's just one of those funny things where I'm like, this is why I needed the story of what it's like to live with dinosaurs.
How was that prologue not the beginning of the movie? I was so flabbergasted that I did not get to see that sequence again.
I know, and it was really, and there were some beautiful, like, moments in that prologue.
Yes.
Where I was like, oh my gosh, where the, like, pterodactyls were taking off with other birds, and then
the herd of, like, triceratops
and elephants, and the horses running with I was like,
at the end, yeah. All of those shots were great, and we
all
got
of
none
them,
of that.
All of them were amazing, and then the mosasaur.
That
would never happen.
No.
Not in a literally million
He's just
years.
casually spinning
right,
with the whales. Like,
I'm like, this would never. This is where I draw the line. This is where it becomes not believable to me anymore.
They ended it on this pretty much the same ending as Fallen Kingdom. It's like, we live with dinosaurs now. Yeah, we know that. We were supposed to find out what happens.
Yeah, like how have people been surviving this whole time? So I need the psychology of that. Like, I need to know. I just do. It's so.
Wait, but Laura, the Velociraptors are chasing Owen and Claire. And they have to get onto a plane. Move on to the next scene.
Oh, and when she clotheslines that Velociraptor, that was another human-like moment. That Velociraptor. I don't know. There were too many, and I was like, uh-oh, are we starting to walk a very fine line of this humanoid dinosaur thing? I can't. You know how we feel about that.
It would have been amazing if it would have made a whole lot of sense in this movie. Because, like, you know, you're in the underground lab of Biosyn, like, where was it? Where was the lab where we finally saw our first human dino?
Is this going to be one of those, like, when they do the YouTubes of, like, the hidden Easter eggs, going back and looking at the movie, how it'll have that arrow pointed to, like, the one vial where it's, like, half human, half baby, half dinosaur? And you'll be like, there it was. Why did they not seize the opportunity, since we had not met Maisie's mother yet? We knew that Maisie looked like her when she was little, but what if, as she was evolving into like an adult human, that the next screenshot we see is her giving us all of this like very kind and she is the half dinosaur, half humanoid, and then
that's incredible.
And Woo's like, your mother was an intelligent dinosaur.
She was the most brilliant geneticist dinosaur that I've ever come across.
Or in Planet of the Apes style, because the dinosaurs are now living amongst us, then all of a sudden, many, many eons into the future,
oh God,
then dinosaurs happen.
I don't think we need to give Universal any more bad ideas.
let me now on a serious note, let me tell you what I think is the problem that has happened over these years is we have become, as viewers, like we are now, if it isn't flashy, big, fast, loud, then we're bored.
That's the only, I think that's the only clever thing happening in the first Jurassic World is that meta commentary on audiences in general. But you can make a big action movie with real characters. You can slow things down. You can make it entertaining. It's just I think that's my biggest problem. It's all so formulaic now.
Yeah.
Everything's just dumb and big and loud and
I know. It's why whenever certain gems come out, like Black Panther or certain Marvel films that are just so well done but are also action packed as well, that's why they stand out so much to us, because when the story is there, when you have such a solid good story, that can never be overshadowed by too much ridiculous action.
It can't be replaced. And that's the thing, even the first Jurassic World, I know it did the thing that The Force Awakens did. It was like the perfect soft reboot. But then it developed something that could have been really big.
Yeah.
They just wasted it all by continuing to just do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. But this just goes to show you that you can build upon something that was great and then make it even more memorable and more great. Yeah. And that's where this was kind of it missed the mark on being able to do that.
You got to be willing to take those chances, and I know big studios generally don't, and that's a big problem. And I think it would have made more sense if the dinosaurs took over.
I know.
and the outlook at the end was a dire one. You know?
Like
maybe
some of us will survive, some of us won't.
Maybe our main characters don't die necessarily, but it needed something.
Nobody died. It's so terrible that I'm laughing and making fun of it now, because I did walk out of that movie, full disclosure, being like, oh my god, this franchise, I'm so sad it's over, and I love it. I love it. I still do. I still love it, and I still will whatever else they come out with, because I have a feeling this probably isn't the end. If I were to predict, I think it will be more Netflix style shows.
Let's be honest, that's where most of the real writing goes these days anyway. They could easily do some more human stories.
Can we get the seasons of people living with dinosaurs? I guess Colin Trevorrow was like, listen, we've written ourselves into a corner.
Yep.
You're not getting any more people. There's no way we can write any more about this. They didn't really take a logical approach to this one. It's unfortunate. I know,
because there's some fun in there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't say step aside Top Gun, because right now Top Gun is the movie of the summer.
It is top dog.
I will say, well done, Jurassic World Dominion, on the puppets.
Yeah.
They looked really good.
Really nice.
That baby Triceratops. Some of the ones that were in the cages in the black market dino.
That stuff always
selling scene.
Oh, God. See, that's the stuff you can always appreciate, just how good the craftsmanship is.
Yes. Do you think that Alan Grant, and does he think to himself, this is out of control?
It's another thing. I don't want to get too far into this, but there is that aspect that neither of, because we know how Ian feels, but we didn't really get any perspective from Ellie or Grant about how they felt that they were now dinosaurs just roaming the earth. They should have some kind of a personal connection to that, since they were on the first island. There's nothing. Again, there's no character. There are no characters in this movie.
Because I so sorely missed them having a little conversation where Ian was like, listen, I know how this goes, because if you remember, the T-Rex got loose in California.
Yeah. If you remember, I was in the Lost World, Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park, the Lost World. I remember. And I wanted so badly for him to say to Owen.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, this is not a good idea with the baby raptor. I've been down this road before. I wanted those little moments where it was like,
I know.
I wanted him to be like, no, see, let me tell you about this time back on Site B when I took this baby T-Rex.
And you could cleverly like make that like 1-2 lines. Like it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a big story or whatever. But it's just
where you're like, okay, at least they acknowledge that this has been a weird ride we've all been on since John Hammond first had us come out
and ruined our lives.
I know. We've never been for 30 years. We have not been able to escape these dinosaurs. It was a weird thing to have Alan not be happy with his line of work.
Yeah.
It was, I mean...
Well, yeah. Oh, God.
Are paleontologists not happy anymore? Because... Well, I guess in a world like that where it's like...
But that's never indicated. Like, there's no...
I know.
You know, like, again...
Where it's like, well, we don't have to dig these things up.
We're filling
we'll
in
just
the...
die and we'll...
Yeah, we're like filling in the gaps here for the poor storytelling going on in this movie.
Clearly, what we've learned is that the third installments of the Jurassic Parks... are the ones that are... They might as well have brought the Spinosaurus back. That would have been the icing on the cake.
This movie was mostly a disappointment. They fall very short of what could have been just something just so unique and so captivating. And they just go back to just old action movie tropes. And
I know. I'm going to give it 3
how many
Barbasol cans.
Barbasol cans? Just give it 3 Barbasol cans. All right, I'm giving
out of 5.
I'm giving it 2 Raptor Claws out of 5.
We really went nerd crazy on this.
Yeah,
we went
it was unavoidable. Maybe we'll be more pointed when we get to the Lost World. Let's go closing thoughts here, because we obviously already gave it our rating. So, how do you feel about this movie?
I will own it because I own all of the Jurassic Park movies. I will probably not watch it again. It'll just be in the collection of movies. And I have to say, as a closer, like as a the bookend of the series, I have bigger appreciation now for the original 3. I mean, JP3, whatever, but like definitely the original 2, the first one and the second, because it gave me a much deeper appreciation for the storytelling that was happening, the source material that they had to go from, and it is a good telling of what not to do. But still fun, still worth seeing. Like if people haven't seen it yet, I mean, listen, we just gave you every single serious detail, but yeah, I still love it all.
Okay, so you would,
and I will love it.
So you would recommend it?
I would recommend it because misery loves company, and if you got to see you got to see why it's so bad and why it's so good in certain parts.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, come on, it's Jurassic Park. You gotta see Jurassic Park. Anything Jurassic Park related, you gotta see. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I echo a lot of the same sentiments as well in terms of Jurassic, the love for it. I think they've taken this franchise and just sent it off a cliff. I will admit there is some fun in this movie, and it's nice getting those nostalgic feelings back for some of the characters and some of the moments, but overall I was highly disappointed with this movie, and I would recommend it for more or less the same reason. Maybe misery just loves company. It's like I need someone else to be as annoyed with this movie as I am. They had a really good setup for this story, and they just completely did nothing with it. And that's the biggest gripe I have with this movie. It could have been something so unique, and they chose not to do any of it. Laura, it was so good being able to talk to you about this, because oh my god, I love how much you love all of this stuff. And
I do. I mean, from like any franchise that has anything that has affected pop culture in any way, I love it. I love it.
Who doesn't love pop culture stuff?
I know.
There's so much good stuff out there, and a lot of crap out there too. But it's
I know, which I probably love as well.
Yeah, you got to take it all. You take the good with the bad. But look, I'm gonna have to have you back because we still have to talk about the Lost World, Jurassic Park, which we did all that work for, and we will return to that subject. I promise.
Oh my God! Thank you so much for having me. This has been a blast.
Absolutely.
Seriously.
Yes. Same. Ditto. Thank you guys. That's gonna do it here for Gabbin' About Jurassic World Dominion.
Roar.
Rrr.